Bring it in, baby, bring it in. Namaste and welcome back to my channel, my loves. Thank you for being here. So today I'm going to talk about the pros and the cons of having dreadlocks. The reason I've come here today with pros and cons is because I've now had dreadlocks for 2 years. I celebrated my 2-year dread birthday on the 3rd of August of 2020. So how exciting. I feel like now I'm knowledgeable enough to know what the pros and the cons are of having dreads. Means that before I had dreads I had hair down to like here. Also, if you've had dreadlocks before or do have dreadlocks and you've got any pros and cons that I don't mention here, please leave them down in the comments section below and let's all communicate that way, because it's really interesting to hear what other people have to say, because everyone's on their own journey. Pro number 1, it is an easy hairdo. I mean, I literally wake up every morning and my hair is basically good to go. Like, I don't need to worry about, oh no, am I gonna have a bad hair day today? Oh, my hair's too greasy. I just don't have to worry about these things. I just have to get up, tie my hair up if I want to, or leave it down if I want to, and that is it. Con number 1, it's heavy. You can only probably really relate to this if your hair is as long as mine, because mine is really long. But when I have it up in a bun, I've noticed more so since my hair's got longer, my neck hurts quite a bit. So when it's in a bun, I kind of try often enough to stretch my neck up and like lean it to the side so that I stretch it on that side and back and forward, because my neck does get achy. That is just one thing that you have to bear in mind. It's not heavy when it's down like this. To me, when it's down, it's fine. But as soon as it's up in a bun, it's obviously all solid up here. That's when it feels really heavy. Pro number 2 is it's very, very low maintenance. Now, I mean low maintenance on a daily basis. You don't have to do maintenance that often, because all you really need to do is wash your hair and have maintenance once a month. Really, that's about it. You don't even need maintenance once a month. It really depends on what you like in dreads, but it's super low maintenance. Like, I don't have to wash it that often. Obviously everyone assumes that you don't ever wash it. That's never had dreads, but you can wash it like once a week, once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks, once a month. It really doesn't matter, and it's just super, super easy. Con number 2, maintenance hurts. So when I do maintenance on myself, it's not half as bad. But when I get maintenance done by someone else, oh my goodness me, does it hurt. I forgot how much it hurt to have maintenance done. Some people might like the pain, but it's painful. It makes your eyes water and it kind of just feels like someone is literally stabbing you in the head with a needle. It's just because all the hair is like rooted at the scalp and it's being pulled and pulled and pulled to lock all the hair together. But maintenance is really important, so you actually should get it done at least every 2 months, just because if you don't do maintenance, it can start pulling the hair, and the longer you leave the maintenance, the more painful your dreads feel on your scalp, and it's just not very comfortable. Pro number 3 is no hair ties. So you don't actually need, depending on the length of your hair obviously, you don't actually need hair ties to tie your hair up. You can literally just use 2 dreads at the bottom here and just like wrap it around like so, pull it tight, and you've got your hair tied up. You can even put your hair in a high bun. All I have to do is throw my hair forward, twist the hair and wrap it around, and it stays. So it's super, super easy in that sense. So if you go swimming but you think, oh crap, I haven't got a hair tie, no worries, love. You got your dreads, you're all good to go. Con number 3, your dreads can get quite dirty. Depending on what you're doing, how long your dreads are, there's a possibility that your dreads can get quite dirty. I.e., the sand's not dirty, but if you're on the beach, for example, and you put your head in the sand, it's probably gonna be hard to get that sand out of your dreads. Also similar to dirt and dust, I mean, I work in a warehouse at the moment and it's quite dusty, and that can get stuck in my hair. And also depending on where you swim, I guess, depending on how dirty the water is, do you really want that going into your dreads? Just gotta think about these things. You pick things up along the way. I mean, my hair loves fluff, and I sometimes look down and I think, oh my goodness, where did that all come from? And I would just have to pick out. It's only fluff from like clothes and things like that, so it's nothing dirty, but I just don't like it, basically. And also, if you don't wash your hair enough, your hair can get quite oily and that oil can build up. So depending on how much you wash your dreads, I'd wash them a bit more often than once every 2 months, personally. Like, I think once a month is okay. It's up to you. It's up to you. Pro number 4 is you don't have to wash your hair as much. So obviously because your hair's in dreadlocks, it doesn't look greasy, but a lot of people will assume that you just never wash your hair, which is obviously total. But you don't have to wash your hair as much. So washing your hair once a week is really not an issue. It's really not. Like, if your hair was normal, non-dreaded before, washing it once a week is pushing it. I used to do it, but it's pushing it. You have to put on a lot of dry shampoo, and that's just not nice building up on your head or on your scalp. The benefit of having dreads is that you don't have to wash your hair that much, or you can wash it once a week and it is totally fine and nobody would know, because nobody can tell your hair's greasy. And to be honest, your hair kind of gets used to that, so you don't actually get greasy buildup. The con number 4 is the drying time. So if you do wash your hair, it takes a long time for your hair to dry, like hella long. long. You have to wash your hair at a certain time in the day, depending on where you are and where you live, obviously. But if you're in a cold country, you're going to want to wash your hair early in the morning. Not early in it as if I'm going to get up at 7 o'clock to wash my hair. It's not like that. It's just, for me, if I don't wash my hair before 12 o'clock in the afternoon, then my hair's probably going to be wet by 8 o'clock still that night. It takes hours, and even when the weather is quite muggy, it still takes hours for your hair to dry. It is crazy ridiculous. I mean, obviously with my hair being so long, it takes my hair such a long time to dry. You can use a hairdryer, but I prefer my hair to dry naturally. But yeah, there's been a few times where I've had to go to bed with wet hair, and I've woken up with wet hair because I don't wear my hair down in bed because obviously it's extremely long. I woke up with wet hair and that's not nice. So I have to tie my hair up, and it just, where I've had my hair tied, that's where it is still quite damp. So it's not very nice in that sense. So that is a con. Pro number 5 is that your hair is constantly transforming. Now, people might look at me and go, you've got dreads, they look the same as what they looked like last week. But when I mean constantly transforming, I mean they change so much over the years. So the first time you get them, they look a certain way, and then as that first year develops, your hair changes so much. It literally goes from like this to this. It looks totally different. So that's why those year dreadlock videos are quite fun to watch, because everyone's dreads transform so differently. The way it matures, it looks so different to what it looked like previously, and as your hair's growing, obviously it changes. Like the dread will always look a different shape. You will get little loops and stuff come out, so that will transform your dreadlocks as well. Con number 5 is that it's very, very, very heavy when I wash it. Yes, they're heavy in general when you wash your hair, because obviously the hair is wet and dreads just soak up like a sponge all the water, so naturally your hair's going to be heavy. But when your hair is as long as mine, oh my god, sometimes I'm in the shower like this, can't lift my head up because it's just like, ugh, it just feels horrible on the neck. I'll be honest with you, it's not a nice feeling. So I have to make sure that I do my shower routine before I wash my hair, because otherwise I'm gonna have to wash my hair, tie my hair up, which is probably gonna be like, I'm gonna be like that bobblehead in a car that you get, you know, you get the dog bobbleheads. That's literally what I'm gonna be like. So you have to kind of prepare yourself for strong neck. You'll probably gain a ton of muscles in your neck, to be fair, having dreadlocks. Pro number 6 is that you can chop and change your hair kind of quite easily with dreadlocks. For example, you can add extensions to your dreadlocks, you can dye your dreadlocks. If you want a fringe, you can take your dreads out at the front, put a fringe in, and if you don't like it, just put dreads back in again. It's a lot more simple than actually going to the hair salon and getting your hair cut short and dyed a different colour. You can change it, but it's not as easy to change it as with dreads, because if you don't like that you've taken a dread out, you can literally just put it back in and it won't look any different. That's what I mean by chopping and changing it. It's really simple to do that. I could literally take out all these dreads at the bottom, these extensions, right? And I can add a whole new load of extensions in that have curly ends, and it will give me a completely different look. And if I don't like it, just take it back out again and put these ones back in, because I've already got them made. I can just dread them back in. Or I could take my extensions out, cut a fringe in, and if I go, oh no, actually I really don't like that, I can just put a dread back in. It's fine, it just looks the same as they did before. So it's quite good about that. You can chop and change and it's not really a big deal. That is a pro in my eyes. Con number 6 is that it can damage your hair. So you do get this question a lot when you have dreadlocks. Doesn't it damage your hair though? Isn't your hair going to be really buggered afterwards? And it's like, well yeah, because at the end of the day my hair has been knotted for however long, so you trying to get those knots out, you're guaranteed that you're going to break your hair regardless. I actually had dreads before I got whole head a couple of years prior to that. It was probably about 4 years before I actually got my full head, and my hair was totally damaged. But what didn't help is that previous to me getting the dreadlocks, I actually had bleach in my hair, so my hair already dyed a little bit. And also, if you do too much maintenance on the stem of your dreadlock, if you do too much maintenance on that regularly, you're actually going to break the hair. So when you take the hair out, you're probably going to be a little bit shocked. You will lose length, it will be damaged, but you have to prepare yourself for that. You kind of know that's what's going to happen. You know your hair's not going to be the length it was before or the thickness it was before, because you're going to lose a ton of hair as well. So you just have to kind of know, yeah, I know my hair's gonna not be the best, but it is possible to get your hair back to how it was. Trust me, I've done it, my niece has done it, it's possible. It doesn't even look like I've got a top on right now. I can see myself in the viewfinder and it looks like I've got my top on. Pro number 7 is when it rains, it doesn't actually matter. Now this might only apply to some people, because obviously if you're male and you've got dreadlocks, then you're not probably going to care previously when you didn't have dreadlocks that it rained and it messed your hair up. But as a woman, as a female, when you don't have dreads and you've got the hair type that I have, my hair can get really frizzy in the rain. So previous to me having dreadlocks, if my hair was down and I was out and it was raining, I was just like, oh my god, I've got to cover my hair. Let's take anything that I've got by hand and cover my hair with it. But with dreadlocks, no worries. Just go out there, all your friends are covering their hair and you're just like, don't care. So that's kind of a pro to me, because I just think I don't have to worry. If it rains, great, whatever, it's not an issue. But if it rains really heavy though, that's slightly different, because if it rains really heavy, then your hair's gonna not be dry for a while, but it's rare that you're out in the rain that long. Con number 7 is males won't understand this either. So this is kind of another female con to having dreadlocks. And I never understood this at the beginning, but you can feel quite masculine sometimes when you have dreadlocks. It doesn't matter if you like to feel masculine, that's fine. But when you're a female, I reached this point at one point when I first got my dreads done, you know, over that year it shrank to my shoulders and they were really short. And there's nothing wrong with short dreadlocks, but when I had short dreadlocks, I wasn't in a good place mentally anyway at that time, but I just felt really masculine. I didn't feel like I was in touch with my feminine side at all, and I was really trying to pull that femininity back. And so for me to get extensions really felt that that gave me that confidence back. I'm not gonna lie, I just felt like me again. But having the shorter dreads, I couldn't tie it up in a bun, I couldn't tie it up in a hair tie at the top of my head with it down, for example, because it stuck out like this, but they were like this long. I don't know, I just felt quite masculine. I just didn't feel like feminine in how I looked, and especially because I dress quite, I do wear baggy clothes. Sometimes when I wore like big jumpers and my hair was down, I just felt really masculine, and that to me wasn't me. So that can sometimes happen if you've got dreadlocks, but obviously if you don't mind feeling masculine, then it's not an issue. Pro number 8 is that your hair is a lot thicker. So my hair, it was kind of medium before I got dreadlocks. Even though it was all one length and it was really long, it just didn't feel very thick. So when I got dreads, it was great because I just felt like I had so much volume and so much hair. And if you've got thin hair type and you get dreadlocks, you're gonna look like you've got so much more hair. You're gonna feel like you've got so much more hair. It's fine to get dreadlocks if you have thin hair. There's no problem with that. Just bearing in mind that if you do take them out, your hair is gonna be thin. It really depends on how you care for them. It does make your hair thicker, and that is one thing I love. I love having like a giant dread bun on the top of my head. I just think it looks super cool, and I just love the thickness of it, to be honest. The volume that I have here, if I don't have dreads, there's no volume there at all. It's very flat because my hair is actually naturally straight, so that is a pro in my eyes. Con number 8 is that they shrink. So you've probably heard before that when you get dreadlocks, the first time you get them, depending on the length, regardless, they're gonna shrink, okay? People that don't have dreadlocks, they don't understand this, but as the hair matures, it locks up. So as it locks up, it naturally just shrinks. So your hair from the root might be growing, but the root that's already made is gonna be shrinking. So regardless of your hair growth, your hair's gonna shrink. When people know how long my actual natural hair dreadlock is, they're like, oh, that's actually really short. If I took that out and I hadn't had dreads, my hair would be past my butt right now. So it's kind of like that. Even though the dread itself looks short, you've probably got so much hair in that dread. So just be prepared for that. If you want to get dreadlocks and you want to get short dreads, just know that that's going to shrink. I recommend if you get dreads and you want them to be longer because you know they're going to shrink, go for as long as you want. The length that I've got, I mean, it's hard work, I'm not going to lie, but I'm glad I've experienced both. So when I first got them done, they were probably to about here, and then they shrank all the way up to about here, and then I got extensions that probably came down to just past my tailbone, and now my hair has started to grow. So obviously because I've reached the 2-year mark, my hair's just growing now, so eventually these extensions are going to come out and hopefully it will just be all my dread. That's the aim anyway. I just want my hair to be just my hair, no extensions, but long, so long as fuck basically. Yeah. So pro number 9 is they are great for traveling. And the reason I say this is because it's such low maintenance, so it comes into play with one of the other pros. It's so low maintenance that when you're traveling, you really don't have to worry that much. So if you know that you're going to be traveling from one country to another and you're going to be on the plane for like 38 hours, you're not going to stress too much about your hair. I know some people will, some people won't. As a male, you're not probably going to feel like this is a big deal, but for us women, us ladies out there, hair is a big deal for us, you know, with the washing and everything like that, and it being greasy, and it really doesn't matter when you're traveling. If you're going in and out the sea, you can just tie your hair up, you don't have to worry about it. You can get up every day and your hair's done. You don't have to worry at all. So traveling is perfect for. That is part of the reason why before I went on my travels, I got my dreads done 4 months before. So I gave myself 4 months to get used to it, and then I went traveling and it was so easy. And there were some people that said to me, when you're traveling with dreadlocks, it must be so much harder. And I'm like, actually no, it's the complete opposite. Like if it was all just natural, it would have just got so in the way. Too much hassle. Let me tell you, it's too much hassle. Trust me. dreads are the way forward when you want to travel, especially if you want to do long-term travel. If you can do your own maintenance as well, it's even better. I taught myself when I was traveling to do my own maintenance, so really recommend that. Really recommend it. Con number 9 is you kind of have to be careful about what water you go into and what time you go into the water. So say if you are away, or in general you just want to go to the pool or something, you can't really plunge yourself in the water depending on the time. So that was something that I had to be really careful of. I had to think about what time I was going in the water, and say for example if I wanted to watch the sunset in the sea, I wouldn't plunge my head, I wouldn't swim in the sea, because I wouldn't want to have to go to sleep with wet hair. I mean, I did free diving quite a lot when I was away, so I knew that was going to be in the morning and the afternoon, but it gave me time for my hair to dry from like the afternoon time all the way up until the end of the day. Every night I was going to bed with wet hair, that's the only thing. And also in turn of that, it depends on how dirty the water is. When I was in Cambodia, I went to this hostel that was on the river and it had inflatables in the river. I didn't even use any of them because the river was so dirty. I did not want to put my head in that river because I thought that water is going to go into my hair and it's going to be stuck in there. I just can't. Waterfalls and things like that, not an issue, because usually the waterfalls are really fresh water, but rivers and things like that, it's just you just want to be a bit more cautious about that. So pro number 10, not being biased or anything, but I think it's a really cool hairstyle. Personally, it's a cool hairstyle. Not that you want to stand out, but if you are different, it's a cool hairstyle to have. It shows your individuality, and that's what I love about it. It's super individual, and yes, someone else might have dreads, but they are never, ever, ever going to be the same as yours. Never. It's impossible for dreads to be the same, in my eyes. I love it. I think it's just a super cool hairstyle, super different, super unique and quirky. That to me is a massive pro. Con number 10 is that when I sleep, it just gets in the way. It's like sleeping with a pet. I have to tie my hair up. I don't like really sleeping with my hair in a bun because it's too tight on my head, and my bun is like an extra head, so I have to be further down in the bed. This might not apply to everyone, by the way. These are just my experiences. I tie my hair up from here at the top and I just leave it to hang, but I literally have to leave my hair to hang on one side, and the amount of times I'm basically sleeping on my hair like this, it's just like sleeping with a bag of ropes. It's kind of annoying, but it's not something that's going to cause me to go, I can't have my dreads anymore. Some people find it quite uncomfortable to sleep with dreadlocks as well. It's not uncomfortable in the sense that it hurts me, it's just they get in the way because they're so goddamn long. That is a con for me. Pro number 11 is that you develop a really thick skin. So by this I mean, as you all know, if you've all got dreads or if you've only just got dreads, you will probably understand that you get so stereotyped. People have a lot to say about dreadlocks, put it that way. They have a lot to say. Some people don't realise that it can be quite insulting. This is why this is a pro to me. It's a pro that you develop a thicker skin, because you're so used to people saying things about your dreads and about you because of your dreads. You naturally just can deal with people's gossip and chat a lot more easily. Me being the youngest of 4, I naturally developed a thick skin anyway. I think that developing a thick skin and being able to handle what people say about you in a really polite and kind and strong manner, it's a pro. It is a pro. It means that whatever anybody says, it just doesn't insult you. It doesn't insult you anymore. You're not bothered. You're just like, oh, whatever, that's just your opinion. It's just like, you don't care. And to me, who doesn't want to be stronger? Who doesn't want to be able to handle what people say a lot better? I know I do. So I think that that is a huge pro in my eyes. Con number 11 kind of comes in with developing a thicker skin, and that is that people do judge you, people do stereotype you. Everyone seems to think that you do drugs. Everyone seems to think that you don't wash your hair. Everyone just stereotypes you. Basically, you just get categorized by people that don't understand that it's just not a certain type of person that has them. People just plonk you into a category. For example, before I had dreadlocks, I was vegan. I am still vegan, by the way. But as soon as I got dreads and people found out that I was also vegan, they would be like, oh, of course you are, you got dreadlocks. And it's like, what? So because I have dreads means that I don't eat animals? I mean, I didn't eat animals before I had dreads, so why are you putting me in that category? It's like, that's a really nice way of doing it, but people do that. If you're going for like new jobs and things like that, I actually do, I'm not gonna lie, I do worry a little bit. Say for example, if I went to a job interview in an office, I do worry that they're gonna stereotype me, so I have to be really careful about how I dress. I really have to look smart so that it takes away the attention from my hair, because people just look at dreadlocks and think that they're dirty dirty, they're messy, and actually that's not true. I don't believe any of that. I feel that dreads are beautiful, they're creative, they're unique, they're fun, they're quirky, you know, they're all these amazing things, but some people don't understand that. Just be prepared that people are going to stereotype you, and you just got to develop that thick skin, because at the end of the day, it doesn't care what other people think about you. You know who you are, and that is all that matters. If you want that hairstyle, have the hairstyle. Who cares what other people think at the end of the day? It is actually quite funny though, because when you do get these questions like, do you wash your hair? Standard question. It is funny when you've got two people together that's got dreads, and then a person that approaches says, so do you wash your hair then? And you'll just see these two people look at each other and laugh. This person's always like, what are you laughing at? And you're like, you don't understand, don't worry. And it happened many times to me when I was traveling. You're allowed to ask questions, but it just makes us laugh because we've heard it so much, especially when you've had them for years. It's just like, oh, that question again. Oh, right, okay, fine. It's just like, oh, if I had £1 for every time I heard this question, I would not have to be working, put it that way. There's one extra pro, and this pro is that you meet some really seriously cool people. Having dreadlocks, it does attract a certain type of attention, and that is fine, but you really do meet some really beautiful, lovely, cool people along the way. When I was away, there was so many random people that would just approach me because of my hair, and you end up having some really amazing conversations with people. You meet some really cool elders as well that just talk to you about their experience when they had them. That's beautiful to me. I just think that's such a beautiful pro, because you just meet some seriously cool people, and people have more confidence to walk over to you and talk to you because of your hair. That to me, I just think, before I had dreads, I never experienced that. When you're in the shop, for example, someone random will come over and be like, oh, I love your hair, where did you get your hair done? And then you just start off a conversation. You might meet someone that is about 60 years old, and they're like, oh yeah, I used to have dreads back in my day. And you just have this connection with people, and people that have dreads as well, you just kind of have a connection. It's weird, you know, you can walk down the street and pass someone with dreadlocks and you will naturally just look at each other. It's just like a weird connection. I can't explain it. It happens so many times. Especially, I love it when I see elder women and men with grey dreadlocks that have had them for years. I think it's absolutely beautiful, and you just can't help but just smile when you see them. That's me anyway. But yeah, you meet some really, really cool people, and you make some really cool connections as well. That is a huge pro in my eyes. Massive, massive pro, and a bonus pro at that. So anyway, I'm going to close off this video now. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry it's so long. It's just in depth, my experience of 2 years of having dreadlocks, and I hope this helps you decide whether you want dreads or not. Personally, I think go for it. If you're watching this video, you probably already have a feeling that you're going to get them. I got my dreads done by my sister, so I'll link her Instagram page down below if you want to check her page out. She is now doing dreadlocks full time, so if you're in the UK or you're from a different country and you want to fly over and you're coming over it, give her a follow. She'll really appreciate it, and so will I. And yeah, thank you so much for watching my beauties. Love and light to you all, sending it all your way. Mwah. Peace.